A look at the type of tutorial that J&M did for Blender with the Eevee real-time editor, and we thought we'd try and replicate that using Viva3D Pro. Um, Viva3D Pro is a fully real-time software that is designed to create scene contents very quickly with live data-driven 3D in-scene objects. So it's a little bit different to anything else that's out there. It's object-based. It's a project that's been going on for a number of years now, as we've gradually been adding and developing and fighting through all of the complexities of creating this dynamic code base to allow this to happen. So what we'll look at today is actually just bringing in a nicely defined vehicle wheel, not a F1 wheel, but a Lexus wheel, which is highly detailed, and bring that in and show exactly how that gets rendered in real time with pixel lighting in Viva3D compared to doing that in Blender, where you have to have these connection state diagrams for the material layers and effects. So let's get on with that straight away. Create a new form. Let's save that down to let's call it wheel 3 and save that. Let's drag the wheel into place. Here's our wheel. Let's spin it, and as you can see, there's the wheel. No pixel lighting, just flat vertex shading. So with Viva3D, we click on objects to do virtually everything. We will now just add a grey material to all layers, control texture to repeat that, add the effect layers for bump mapping, go back to layer 0, and we'll also enable hit flash, which is a nice feature that enables us to actually see what we're clicking because it gets highlighted in a color, in red in this example. So as we can see, it's there. It's now got grey across all the layers. Well, let's change that. Let's change it to pixel shading. Replicate that through the materials for the submeshes. And we'll need to add a light because we've now got fully enabled pixel lighting. So let's put a light into the scene. And there's our wheel, nicely illuminated. Obviously we've got too much light there, so we need to drop the specular for the rubber. We'll bring that down, and also reduce the shininess to a lower level, so it's more the dull sort of rubber color. Let's actually get some rubber-like texturing on that by dragging and dropping that into place. We'll also need the bump map. So what I'll do is I'll just drag that onto there for a second and copy it off. Alt texture will take us to the bump map, paste it in, and we will need to make that a bump shader, and that's it. So now we've got our bump mapping. As you can see here on the top of the wheel there, you can see around this area at the top of the wheel, 255/35 is now nicely there on the wheel. Change the valve color by clicking on that and just select a grey color for that. The reflective area here, we'll just make that white and simply select the environmental reflection for that, which we won't see because we don't actually have an environment. So let's add an environment. Let's add a sky dome with a land scene, and let's also add a reflective surface. And there's our reflective surface for our wheel. Let's move the camera up a little bit and set it, shift down set. and we need to then mix the level of environmental reflection for the wheel. We set the scene to bring together all the different elements and bring up the reflection level, mixing with the background color. So you could mix the reflection with a dirt type texture so the wheel doesn't look completely clean, or have it absolutely bright, brilliant for that effect. Okay, let's look at the diffuse on the tire surface again. Let's bring that down slightly and check the specular reflection level. It's probably a little bit too high still. Okay, switch back to spin. Set the camera position. The disc the disc brake needs to have its texture added, and the disc pads, will set that to a deep red, sporty red colour. I'm not particularly artistic, so gives you the idea. I think I'm going to bring that up a little bit. Just size that slightly. Not that big. Drop it down. Change the reflective setting for the nuts. Pixel reflect, and again mix in the reflection onto the nuts there. Let's come in there a little bit closer. And let's drop back out. Select the light range. All right, let's bring that back considerably. And a closer adjustment. Reset the view. Change the logo color here. And also make that one reflective. Change the mixing level. Again for that submesh. And there's our wheel. So we can also set that to rotate. And now you can see the wheel is fully textured with bump mapped rubber tire and environmental reflection. To test environmental reflection, we can add a blue cube. Make it a little bit bigger here. Not that big. Okay, bring that forward slightly. Bring the tire back. And you start to see the blue cube reflecting in the surface of the environmental reflective areas. Another thing that we can do is simply Alt right click, and we can pull off the submeshes into separate elements, allowing the model to be separated. And then what we can also do is explode that in a controlled manner, so that we can have controlled explosion, or you can have a generalized explosion of the model from the center outwards, but also manual positioning of submeshes is supported. We're going to be doing some more content. Viva3D is very much an engineering company, so we're not particularly good at producing videos, but we hope that was interesting. Thanks for listening.